The set was closed. It was 11 p.m. on a Wednesday in June 1977, and Stage 18 at Paramount Studios stood empty except for 3 people: Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta, and director Randall Kleiser. The rest of the crew had been sent home hours ago. This wasn't a normal filming night. This was the beach reunion kiss, the moment Danny and Sandy reconnect after the summer, the romantic centerpiece that would make or break the entire love story of Grease. And Olivia was on the verge of a panic attack. "I can't do this," she whispered to Randall, her hands shaking. I don't know how to kiss someone on camera." John stood 20 feet away by the fake beach setup, pretending not to hear, giving her space. But even from a distance, she could feel his patience wearing thin. They'd been here for 2 hours, no cameras rolling, just waiting for Olivia to be ready. But what nobody knew, what Olivia couldn't bring herself to say out loud, was that this wasn't just about the kiss. This was about every insecurity she'd carried her entire career. Every voice that told her she wasn't actress material. Every moment she'd felt like a fraud. What happened in the next 60 minutes would either save the film or destroy it. The clock kept ticking, and John Travolta was running out of reassuring smiles. The first table read had been a disaster. May 1977. A conference room at Paramount. The entire cast assembled. John Travolta, fresh off Saturday Night Fever and radiating confidence. Stockard Channing, a seasoned stage actress with Broadway credentials. Jeff Conaway, experienced and sharp. And Olivia Newton-John. Grammy-winning singer, yes. Movie star? That remained to be seen. She'd stumbled through her lines, her Australian accent slipping through despite weeks of dialect coaching. When she got to the emotional scenes, her delivery felt flat, robotic. She could hear the words she was saying but couldn't feel them. After the read-through, producer Alan Carr had pulled Randall aside. Olivia saw them whispering, saw Alan's concerned expression, saw Randall nodding slowly. She knew what they were discussing. Had they made a mistake casting her? That night in her hotel room, Olivia had called her manager. "I don't think I can do this. I'm not an actress. Everyone can see it." "You did a screen test. They loved you." "That was one song, alone on a soundstage. This is different. This is real acting. With professionals. I'm going to embarrass myself." But the contracts were signed. The production was moving forward, and Olivia Newton-John was locked in as Sandy Olsen, whether she felt ready or not. John had noticed her struggling. On day 3 of filming, during a break between setups, he'd found her sitting alone in her trailer, script in hand, tears threatening to spill. "Hey," he said softly, knocking on the open door. "Can I come in?" She'd nodded, quickly wiping her eyes. He sat across from her, his presence somehow both commanding and gentle. "You're in your head too much." I don't know what I'm doing. You're a natural. Everyone else has theater training. I'm just pretending." "Olivia, can I tell you a secret?" He leaned forward. "Every single person on that set is pretending. That's literally what acting is. The only difference between good pretending and bad pretending is whether you believe it yourself." "But I don't." "You do. I've seen you. When you're singing, when you're being Sandy in the musical numbers, you're not thinking, you're just being. That's what you need to do with the dialogue too." She'd looked at him. Really looked. His eyes were kind, patient, completely without judgment. "What if I mess up your movie?" she whispered. "Our movie," he corrected gently. "And you won't, I promise. But Olivia?" He waited until she met his eyes. "You have to trust yourself. Because I already trust you completely." It was the first time since filming began that she'd felt like maybe she could do this. But that was before they got to the kiss. Kissing scenes were always filmed on closed sets. Minimal crew, maximum privacy. Standard Hollywood practice, meant to make actors comfortable. For Olivia, it had the opposite effect. The intimacy of it, just her, John, and Randall in this cavernous soundstage, made everything feel more intense, more exposed. At least with a full crew, there would be distractions, other things to focus on besides her own terror. Randall had been incredibly patient. Okay, let's just walk through the blocking. No cameras yet, just movement. They'd rehearsed the scene. Sandy and Danny on the beach, reunited after summer. Joy, surprise, then the moment. Danny leans in, and they kiss. Simple. Natural. The kind of kiss that happens in real life without planning or coordination. Except this wasn't real life. This was a multi-million-dollar movie production, and that kiss needed to look spontaneous while being perfectly lit, perfectly framed, perfectly timed. First rehearsal. Olivia turned her head at the wrong angle. Their noses bumped. That's okay, Randall said. Totally normal. Let's try again. Second rehearsal. Olivia pulled away too fast, the moment feeling rushed and awkward. Maybe hold it a beat longer, Randall suggested gently. Third rehearsal. Olivia froze completely. John leaned in, and she just stopped, like a computer shutting down. She couldn't move, couldn't respond, couldn't do anything but stand there with her eyes squeezed shut. John pulled back immediately, concerned. Liv, you okay? She opened her eyes. Her face was bright red. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can we take 5 minutes? Of course. Take all the time you need. In the bathroom off stage 18, Olivia splashed cold water on her face and stared at her reflection. What is wrong with you? It wasn't like she'd never been kissed. She'd had relationships. She was 28 years old, for God's sake. This shouldn't be difficult. But there was something about the performative nature of it, the awareness that this kiss would be seen by millions of people, analyzed, judged, forever preserved on film, that made her body shut down with anxiety. And underneath that, a deeper fear. What if she wasn't good at it? What if the chemistry everyone said she and John had just wasn't there when it mattered? There was a soft knock on the bathroom door. Olivia? John's voice. Can we talk? She opened the door. He stood there, still in his T-Birds jacket, looking genuinely concerned. I'm holding up the production, she said miserably. I'm wasting everyone's time. You're not. Listen. He ran a hand through his hair, searching for words. When I did my first on-screen kiss, I threw up beforehand. Actual vomiting from nerves. She looked at him, startled. Really? Really, it's weird and awkward and nothing like real life. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. And you and I? He smiled. We have real friendship. Real trust. That's going to come through no matter what. What if I mess it up? Then we do another take. And another. Randall's not going anywhere. The film's not going anywhere. We have time. He paused. But Olivia, I need you to know. I'm not going to do anything you're not comfortable with. If you need us to adjust the scene, if you need a different angle, if you need anything at all, just tell me. His kindness, his absolute lack of ego or impatience, finally broke something loose in her chest. Okay, she said. Let's try again. They returned to the beach set, Randall behind the camera now, ready to actually film. Whenever you're ready, he said softly. No pressure. We'll do as many takes as you need. John positioned himself. Olivia took her mark. The beach scene setup looked romantic, dreamy. Sunset lighting, soft wind machines creating that movie magic breeze. Action. The scene began. They delivered their lines. The surprise of seeing each other, the joy, the nervous energy of two people who'd fallen in love over summer and now had to navigate real life. And then the moment came. John leaned in slowly, giving Olivia every opportunity to meet him halfway. His eyes were warm, encouraging. You've got this, they seemed to say. Olivia felt her body start to freeze again, that familiar panic rising. But then she remembered what John had said. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. She thought about Sandy, about this girl who'd fallen unexpectedly in love, who was nervous and excited and scared and hopeful all at once. And instead of thinking about technique or angles or the camera, she just let herself feel what Sandy would feel. When their lips met, it wasn't technically perfect. It wasn't a Hollywood fantasy kiss with sweeping music and perfect choreography. It was real, tentative, sweet, a little awkward. Exactly what a first kiss between two teenagers would actually be like. Cut. Silence on the set. Then Randall said quietly, "That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Print it." Olivia pulled back from John, her heart pounding. "Really? It was okay?" "It was perfect," Randall said. "It felt true. That's all we needed." John squeezed her hand. "Told you." After the kiss scene wrapped, Olivia sat in her trailer feeling like she'd just run a marathon. One scene. One kiss. Hours of anxiety and self-doubt for something that would last maybe 10 seconds on screen. But she'd done it. John knocked on her trailer door around 1 a.m. "Hey, wanted to check on you before I headed home." "I'm okay," she said, and surprisingly, she meant it. "You know what I realized tonight?" John said. "You're going to be amazing in this movie, not despite being scared, but because you care so much about getting it right. That's what makes a great performance. Caring." "Thank you," she said softly, "for being patient with me, for not making me feel stupid." "You're not stupid. You're brave. There's a difference." He paused at the door. "See you tomorrow, Sandy." "See you tomorrow, Danny." After he left, Olivia sat alone in the quiet of her trailer and let herself feel something she hadn't felt since production began. Hope. Maybe she could do this. Maybe she was exactly where she was supposed to be. June 16th, 1978, almost exactly 1 year after that closed-set kiss scene. The premiere of Grease at Grauman's Chinese Theater was chaos. Celebrities, fans, press, everyone dressed in 1950s costumes to match the film's theme. The energy was electric, almost overwhelming. Olivia stood on the red carpet in a white gown, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. And somewhere in the blur of it all, she found John. "Ready?" he asked, offering his arm. "Terrified," she admitted. "Same. But we're terrified together, right?" They walked into the theater side by side. When the kiss scene appeared on screen, that beach reunion, that tentative, sweet, real kiss, the audience sighed collectively. A genuine sound of romantic satisfaction. Olivia felt tears prick her eyes. They loved it. The thing she'd been so terrified of, the scene that had nearly broken her. They loved it. After the film ended and the credits rolled, the theater erupted. Standing ovation. Cheering. Screaming. John found her in the chaos and pulled her into a hug. "We did it." "We did it," she repeated, laughing and crying at the same time. Grease became the highest-grossing musical film of all time. That kiss, the one Olivia had been so terrified to film, became iconic. Posters, magazine covers, movie montages. The moment that captured what the whole film was about. Innocence, first love, the scary, beautiful experience of opening yourself up to someone else. In interviews years later, Olivia would always say, "John made me feel safe. That's why the kiss worked, because there was real trust there." And John would say, "Olivia brought vulnerability to Sandy that made her real. That kiss wasn't acting. That was Olivia being brave enough to be truly vulnerable on camera." In 2016, at a Grease cast reunion, someone asked Olivia what she'd learned from the experience. She thought for a long moment. "I learned that the things that terrify you the most are usually the things you need to do. That closed-set kiss scene, I wanted to run away. I wanted to quit. But I stayed. I pushed through the fear. And on the other side of that fear was everything I'd been looking for: confidence, growth, proof that I could do hard things. She paused, her eyes finding John's across the room. And I learned that having someone who believes in you, really believes in you, can make all the difference. John didn't just help me through a scene, he helped me believe I belonged there. The audience applauded, but the real moment came later, backstage, when John found her. "Still think you're not an actress?" he teased gently. Olivia laughed. "I think I'm someone who was brave enough to try. That's good enough for me." He hugged her, and for a moment they were back on stage 18, 28, and 23, scared and hopeful, about to film a kiss that would last forever. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." "Thank you," he said back, "for trusting me, for trusting yourself." And that kiss, the one that almost didn't happen, remained what it had always been. Not just a movie moment, but a reminder that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be vulnerable. Even when you're terrified. Especially when you're terrified.